robotics. Okay, these are the contents of the presentation. You may be having plenty of questions in your mind, which we are going to discuss today. What is a robot? How to assign a task to a robot? What are the different components of a robot? What functions a robot can perform? How to give instructions to a robot? So what contents we are going to see? I believe these questions will be answered at the end of the session. So let us discuss what are the contents of the presentation. First of all, we'll see what is robotics, that is introduction to robotics. We'll see history of robotics or history of robots. Then we will see classification of different robots. After that, we will see what are the components of robot. Then we will see what are the different kind of drives like electric drives, pneumatic drives, hydraulic drives, how a robot is driven. Then we will see what is control loop of a robot, how a robot works. After that, we will see what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and what are the limitations of a robot. After which we will see what are the applications, what are the areas in which we can use robots. After that, we will see robots which are available in our campus. In VPKBIT, that is Vidya Pratishthan's Kamal Nayan Bajaj Institute of Engineering and Technology, we are having two types of robots. One is Firebird V and second is Spark V robots. We are having 7 Firebird V robots and we are having 5 Spark V robots. So we will see those robots, right? So let us start. So first of all, we will see what is a robot, right? Just one sec, there is a technical issue. Okay. What is a robot? A robot is a programmable, multifunctional manipulator. Manipulator means skilled, right? A robot is programmable, multifunctional manipulator which is designed to move materials, parts, tools, or specialized devices through variable program motions for the performance of a variety of tasks. So a robot needs to be programmable, it needs to be multifunctional, right? And it is used to move materials, it is used to move parts or tools or specialized devices, right? Through program motions. Now, what is the purpose of robot? Robots are used for following tasks. Which are those? One is dirty task, where human doesn't want to go. Second is repetitive task. Many of the times, because of repetitiveness of the work, human gets fatigue, which may lead to accidents also, right? So repetitive tasks can be avoided. Then dangerous tasks. For example, exploration of a volcano, or let's say exploration or let's say a place where nuclear radiations are there. In case of nuclear reactor, a human cannot go, it will be risky. So over there we can use robots. Then impossible tasks, some tasks are there which are impossible. It may be underwater tasks, it may be aerial tasks which are impossible, or the places where human cannot go, over there we can use robots. Then robots are also used for assisting the handicapped people, right? And it can operate equipments at much higher precision than humans. In case of robotics, there are two things which are important. One is accuracy and one is precision. If we compare accuracy and precision of a robot with that of a human, it is quite obvious that the accuracy as well as precision which is achieved by a robot is much higher in comparison to a human. What is the reason? The reason is very simple. It is a machine, so it will not make mistakes. If you tell him to drill a hole At a specific location, it can have an accuracy of microns. What is micrometer? It is 10 raised to minus 6. So it can have that much high accuracy. It can have that much high precision. Now, what is a robot? It is an electromechanical device. If the drive is electrical, so the device will be called as electromechanical device. It must be reprogrammable. We should be in a position to program it again and again. It should be multifunctional. There are some robots which are designed for a specific task, but if we want to change the task, that function should be changed. Then it should be sensible to environment. Now, what is a robot? First thing, it should be a manipulator. The dictionary meaning of manipulator is a person who handles or controls something very skillfully. If you can see the two pictures, you will get an idea that being a robot, it will go precisely to a coordinate. For example, if you give him X, Y, and Z coordinate, like Cartesian coordinates, or if you give him polar coordinates, R, theta, and phi, or if you give him cylindrical coordinates, precisely it will go to that specific coordinate. It will position itself to that coordinate, right? And it will do it very skillfully and accurately. Now, you can see two pictures on your screen. One is legged robot and one is wheeled robot. Right, it can walk with the help of legs, and second robot, which is wheeled robot, it can move with the help of wheels. Right, if you want to take a turn, then if you change the power given to two wheels, depending upon the change in power, it will take a turn. Maybe it will take a right turn or a sharp right turn, right, in the forward direction, as well as even if you want to take the turns in a backward direction, you can take the turn simply by changing the polarity. Right, you can change the direction given to wheels, and depending upon the direction given to wheels and power given to wheels, we can change the speed, velocity, and direction of the wheeled robot. Now, autonomous underwater vehicle, that is an actual picture of a robot which is used underwater, and the second picture is of unmanned aerial vehicle. You might have seen the movie Uri, in which that drones are used, right? Now see, that drone is nothing but a robot. It is unmanned aerial vehicle, right? Okay, so we can use robots underwater, as well as we can use robots on land, as well as we can use robots in air also. Now, what a robot can do? Robot can do a task which are very dangerous when it comes to humans. For example, this is an actual photograph of a nuclear power plant where a circulating pump is to be cleaned. The housing of the circulating pump is to be cleaned. Now, this cannot be done manually because there will be hazardous nuclear radiations. So at this location, we can use a robot, and that robot is mounted over there, which is used for cleaning. Now, the second application, there are some jobs which are repetitive. Right? For example, let's take example of a welding robot. This photograph is of welding robot. You can either go for spot welding, arc welding, right? Let's say take example of a spot welding. So you have to weld at a specific spot, and again after 1 minute you have to again weld, right? So that is a repetitive task. So it may be boring. As far as if you compare a robot with a human may find it boring. He may want a break. Let's say after half an hour, or let's say after 3 hours, he will say that I want a tea break, I want a lunch break, right? So robot doesn't want tea break, lunch break. A human cannot work in 3 shifts, right? Even if a robot cannot work in 3 shifts, a robot can work in 3 shifts, right? So even if the job is boring, even if it is repetitive, even if it is stressful, right? Even if it is labor intensive, so humans will have difficulty, whereas robots will not have any difficulty. The productivity of robots is quite very high in comparison to humans. Now, this is the photograph of ScrubMate robot, which is used for cleaning toilets. Now, generally manually, humans doesn't want to do this kind of jobs. So for this kind of jobs also, we can use robots. Now let us see the history of robots, how robots were invented. Now, the first time robot word was used in a play. It was a play which was performed in the year 1920. The name of the play was RUR, that is Rossum's Universal Robots, by Czech writer Karel Čapek. So first time this word robot was used in 1920, even if that concept was not there, robot, right? Then what is the origin of word robot? The word robot comes from the word robota. If you have seen robot movie, there is a song called as Robota. Even if you Google for robot movie in other languages, the name is Robota, because actual name of robot is Robota, and meaning of Robota is forced labor. So robot is nothing but a labor, right? We emulate a human. Robot is like, emulate means in Marathi it is called as anukaran karne. So being a robot, we expect that it should follow a human. Now, this is very important. Robotics is a multidisciplinary field, right? Which branches are involved for robotics? First is mechanical engineering. If you see schematic of a robot, the manipulator, right? If you see the links, the joints, right? How power is transmitted, the mechanisms, the kinetics behind it, the dynamics behind it, how much power is to be transmitted, what should be the velocity, right? Everything will come in mechanical. Then second is electrical and electronics. The robot actuation part, the electronic interface of robot with a computer, or let's say the sensors part, right? This is from electrical and electronics. And the control algorithms, this is also from electrical and electronics. If you are from computers or IT, or now emerging field in robots is artificial intelligence. After the lecture, I will share some of the videos of robots with you. The robots which have artificial intelligence, the robots which plays football, the robots which plays ping pong. Ping pong means table tennis, right? So there are some robots which are having artificial intelligence. So they need programming, right? Okay. So from computers, IT and artificial intelligence, the important part is robot programming, or their contribution in the field of robotics will be robot programming, planning and intelligent behavior. That is nothing but AI. Okay. Now let us see robotics terminology. What is the terminology? Now what is a robot? We have seen robot is a mechanical device that performs human task. It emulates human beings, right? Either automatically or by a remote control. Now what is robotics? It is the study and application of robot technology. Study and application of robot technology is called as robotics. What is telerobotics? When that robot is operated with the help of a remote, that branch is called as telerobotics. Now let us see classification of robots. One is manual robot, which is operated manually, fixed sequence robot, which follows a fixed sequence, variable sequence robot, where we can do programming, we can change the sequence, numerical robot, where you want numerical curves to be traced, and playback robot. Playback robot is the robot in which you will teach to robot. So first motion to the robot will be given by the operator, and it will remember that robot will memorize the coordinates, it will memorize the path, and it will follow that path. So that robot is called as playback robot. And last and very interesting robot is intelligent robot, which will apply the logic, right? So first robot is manual robot. In this type of robot, it has multiple degrees of freedom. See, at this moment, it will sound somewhat difficult to you to understand what is degree of freedom. But let me quote a very simple example in front of you. You know door, a door is there, right? A door can have only rotational motion along y-axis, right? So it is having 1 degree of freedom. A door is having 1 degree of freedom. Maximum, there are 6 degrees of freedom. Maximum, how many degrees of freedom a robot can have? 6 degrees of freedom. It can move along x-axis, it can move along y-axis, it can move along z-axis. That is, linear motion along x is 1 degree of freedom, linear motion along y is 2nd degree of freedom, linear motion along z is 3rd degree of freedom, and rotation along x is 4th degree, rotation along y is 1 more, and rotation along z is 1 more. So if you count these 3 plus 3, 3 linear and 3 rotational, so totally maximum a robot can have 6 degrees of freedom. Okay, so this is manual robot. So it is very simple. These are the types of robots. Manual means the robot which is operated manually. Fixed sequence robot means it repeats a fixed sequence of actions. For example, this is wood cutting CNC, right? And you have to groove a curve, right? So it will repeat for all components will come and it will groove a arc kind of thing, right? So this is fixed sequence because the sequence is fixed. Now variable sequence robot, it is similar to fixed sequence robot, only what is the change? The change is that it can be reprogrammed, right? It can quickly adapt to perform new tasks. The program can be easily changed. The sequence can be easily changed. From the name itself, you can guess. Fixed sequence means sequence is fixed. Variable sequence means sequence can be changed. Okay, this is very interesting. Playback robot. Now you can see the picture, right? P1 to P2. So first of all, the worker has to take the robot through the path, right? That is written as TCP. And once you take robot through that path, it will remember the path. It will memorize the path. And for next operations, it will repeat the path, right? So playback robot is first guided through a sequence of actions by an operator, and then it repeats the same actions automatically. Then it repeats the action on its own. Now, what is a numerical robot? This type of robot follows a sequence of actions which it receives in the form of numerical data. Let's say a numerical data is there, that a robot has to follow a path which is governed by a numerical equation. It may be anything. Let's say x cube plus x tan of phi is equal to 0. This is the equation. That equation it has to trace. That path is it has to trace, right? So in that case, for this specific task, we will use numerical robot. Then what is intelligent robot? Intelligent robot is the robot which senses environment and responds to changes, right? For example, a table tennis playing robot. It will observe what action the player in front of it is taking. It will record it, and within a fraction of a second, it will decide the racket should be taken to which position, right? So that kind of robots are called as intelligent robots, which respond to the changes. Now let us see what are the components of a robot. The components of a robot, first part is its main body. See, as I told you, it emulates human being. So components of robots are similar to components of human being. At the end of this slide, I will tell you how to remember this. It is very simple. First is manipulator, which is the main body of the robot. It consists of links, joints, and structural elements. Second is end effector. Now, our hand is there. Whatever is there after our wrist, right? Whatever part of hand is there after our wrist, it is called as end effector. The part that is connected to the last joint is called as end effector. Actuators. Actuators are nothing but muscles of the manipulator, right? What different actuators we are using? If we are using electric actuators, we will be using stepper motors or servo motors. If we are using mechanical actuators, we will be using hydraulic cylinders, that is hydraulic actuators or pneumatic actuators. Then, very interesting and very important part of a robot is sensor, right? Now, what this sensor does, it collects information about the state of the robot. What it may be a temperature sensor, it may be a pressure sensor. N types of sensors are there, right? For example, being a human, we are having 5 sense organs. Which are those? One is ear, right? We hear with the help of ear. Eyes are there. We see with the help of eyes. So similarly, cameras are there in robots, right? We smell with the help of nose. We taste with the help of tongue, and we feel with the help of skin. So similarly, this kind of sensors are also there in robots. Then controller and processor, this is nothing but brain, right? Which calculates the motion and controls the motion as well as coordinates. It will do positioning as well as it will decide the motion. And the important part, which is nothing but OS, that is operating system, that is software. So robotic softwares are there. Okay. Now end effectors. In the earlier slide, I told you that if you see your hand, the part of your hand after your wrist is nothing but end effector. So being a human, we are having 5-finger end effector. End effectors are used for 2 purposes. Which are those? One is for gripping. Gripping means holding. Let's say you have to hold a torch, a welding torch, or you have to hold a drill. or let's say that the robot has to hold an object which is weighing, let's say 50 kg. So that object will be held with the help of end effector. Now end effector can be a gripper or a tool, right? So it can be a 2-finger end effector, it can be a 3-finger end effector, or it can be even 5-finger end effector. So you can see the photographs. The first photograph is 2-finger, second photograph, that is middle one, is having 3-finger end effector, and the third one is 4-finger end effector. Now actuators, right, which are nothing but muscles. They may be arms or they may be legs. So if you talk about legs, it can be legs, it can be wheels, or it can be other exotic means like a combination of wheels and legs. So what are the different manipulators? As I told you about degree of freedoms, right? I have told you about arm, right? It can be have, see, simply it can have maximum 3-dimensional degree of freedom. That is freedom in 3 axes, as well as motion in 3 axes, as well as rotation in 3 axes. Now, what are grippers? Already we have discussed that end effectors, 2-finger, 3-finger, 5-finger. Now grippers, the most important part is last statement of this slide. Grippers probably need feedback to control grip force. That gripping force is very important. If you search on YouTube for application of robotics, you will find plenty of applications. Many of you may be from agricultural background, so you can select this. I will share the videos with you. Application of robots in agriculture or agricultural robots. Now see, in agricultural uses, even if you want to take out that strawberry fruit, you can use robots, right? Now that strawberry fruit is very delicate, so you need to apply apt pressure, apt force. If the force is large, what will happen? That fruit may get damaged. So there you need to have a feedback control system over there, right? Okay. Now what are the different sensors, right? They can sense light. Okay. For example, white line following robot, red light following robot, right? That kind of robots we can have. They can sense sound. They can sense heat, that is temperature. We can have a kind of robot like if the temperature increases. For example, in forging, we are having some robots. Near to Baramati, 2 industries are there. One is Bharat Forge and one is Piaggio Vehicles. So in both industries, robots are there. So robots can also sense light, robots can sense sound, robots can sense heat, they can sense chemicals. There are some robots which are called as electronic nodes. Specifically in chemical industries, they are used. So they sense chemicals, they sense the contamination of chemicals, and if there is some leakage, right? So they will inform, they will display a signal that so and so chemical is leaked, or the composition of so and so chemical has been increased, right? Now sensors can sense force. There can be object proximity sensors, whether the object is in the proximity or not, that can be sensed. Then the sensors can sense the position, they can sense the physical orientation. There can be sensors which can sense electric field, there can be sensors which sense magnetic field, and sensors can sense the resistance also. So almost all things can be sensed with the help of sensors, right? Now, degrees of freedom. Now, if you look at the figure here, this is base of the arm, right? This is bend elbow, right? This is wrist, right? So basically, see, you can have 6 degrees of freedom. That is 3 translation and 3 rotation, as I mentioned earlier. Translation along X, Y, and Z axis, and rotation along X, Y, and Z axis. If you go in more detail, the basic motions which are possible at the type at arm is yawing motion, right? Pitching motion is also there, and rolling motion is there, but that we'll see afterwards because it is not a part of our today's discussion. In today's discussion, we'll just try to understand what is the basic structure of a robot. So at this moment, you just try to understand only one thing, that maximum we can have 6 degrees of freedom, so that the required tool can be taken to any desired location and any desired operation can be performed in 3-dimensional thing. Now, how a robot is driven? It can be either driven with the help of hydraulic power, it can be driven with the help of pneumatic power. You might have seen on vehicles, pneumatic brakes, air brakes is written on many of the vehicles. Air brakes means we use pneumatic power. If you have gone for wheel balancing and wheel alignment for your four-wheeler, that jack is there. That jack is nothing but hydraulic jack. So there we are using hydraulic power. We use Pascal's law that at same depth intensity of pressure remains constant. So we can magnify the force. Anyway, at this moment, just try to understand that three basic types of drives are there for robots. Which are those? One is hydraulic drive where hydraulic power is used. Second is pneumatic drive where compressed air is used. And third is electric drive where electricity is used. Now hydraulic drive, right? What are the applications? Now see, hydraulic drives that used pumps, valves and pressurized liquids to create a mechanical motion. For example, you are using power steering, right? On power steering, even if you apply a very small force, that force gets magnified. How it gets magnified? It gets magnified with the help of concept of Pascal's law. Okay, anyway, it can deliver large power. Where hydraulic drives are used, where we want large power, right? Payload is up to 225 pounds. What is payload? Load which the robot can carry, right? The load which the robot can carry is up to 225 pounds. What are the applications where hydraulic drives are used? For example, spray painting robots. In automobile industries, we use automatic spray painting for painting of the vehicles, right? So there we use spray painting. Then welding robot for spot welding, right? If you go in Piaggio vehicles, we are having spray painting robot, we are having welding robot. If you go in Bharat Forge, we are having that for forging, handling a heavy forging and die casting operations, we are having a robot. And most important, for explosion proof robots, we use hydraulic drives. Now, pneumatic drives where compressed air is used, the payload is very less, it is only 5 pounds. Specifically in pharmaceutical industry, where we want clean environment, we use pneumatic drive. The air pressure is approximately 90 psi. Psi means pounds per square inch, right? So generally it is used for pick and place operations. You have to pick an operation, you have to place it at some other location. Okay. What are electric drives? Electric drives are more precise and more accurate. So generally we say that robot is electromechanical device because generally we use electric drives, right? Because they are very precise. By controlling the signal given to stepper motor or servo motor, we can precisely control motion of the robot. So they are used in general purpose applications and they are also used in automatic assembly operations in four-wheelers, in vehicles, in auto sector, we are having assembly line, right? So over there we use electric drives. Now controls are of two types. One is open loop and closed loop. As you know very well that in closed loop, there is a feedback and there is a connection between output and input. So what are the different types of feedback controls? One is rotation encoder, right? Then we use cameras. Then we use pressure sensors, temperature sensors, some limit switches are there, some sonar sensors are there, and optical sensors are there, right? Sonar is connected with sound, optical is connected with light. Okay, now this is the most important part of this slide. Even if you forget everything, that is okay, just try to remember this. How a robot works. What is the robot control loop? Like a human, there are three things. One is sensing, then thinking, and then acting. How a robot sense or what things a robot can sense? It can sense speech, it can sense vision, it can sense acceleration, it can sense temperature, it can sense all these things. A robot can sense a position, it can sense a distance, it can sense a touch, it can sense a force, it can sense sound, it can sense magnetic field and light, right? Now, after sensing, what it will do? It will think, right? It will think. Now, for thinking, there will be task planning, plan classification, learning, processing the data, path planning, and motion planning. And after thinking, it will act, right? How it will act? Let's say it will move, or it will speak out, right? Or the output may be in the form of a text, or visuals, wheels, legs, right? Or arm tracks. Through arm tracks, it will move, or through legs, it will move, or through arms, it will act, or through legs, it will act. So the most important control loop in robot is sense, think, and act. Initially it senses, then it thinks, and then it acts. Now these are the different languages. I will not go into detail. You are only acquainted or familiar with C language, right? So using C also, or embedded C, we can do programming of robot. Now, I will not tell you about all robots, but these are the two famous robots, right? One is Puma, that is Programmable Universal Machine for Assembly, and one is SCARA, Selective Compliance Articulated Robot for Assembly, right? SCARA is an abbreviation. Now this is Puma. If you can see over here, the base is called as link 0, right? The next link, immediate next link is called as link 1, right? In between link 0 and link 1, you are having joint 1. This is link 1 and this is link 2. In between link 1 and link 2, you are having joint 2. In between link 2 and link 3, this is link 3. You are having joint 3. In between link 3 and link 4, we are having joint 4. In between link 4 and this is your link 5, we are having joint 5. This is link 6 and this is joint 6, which connects joint 5 to link 5 to link 6. So this is nothing but Puma robot. Just try to understand that Puma robot is having 6 degrees of freedom. So it can move along x-axis, it can move along y-axis, it can move along z-axis. At the same time, it can rotate about these 3 axes, that is x, y, and z-axis. Now, if you can see in the figure, this robot will go to a specific position, and depending upon the path given in the program, it will move. It will move the tool. So this robot is Puma and second is SCARA, right? Okay, the base of SCARA is fixed, right? I have already told you what is joint 1, joint 2, joint 3. If you can see, joint 3, it can move in up and down direction. Joint 4, it can move in up and down direction, and at the same time it can rotate. Now see, the important part of SCARA is it is selective compliance. What is the meaning of compliance? We can give constraints. We can give orders to the robot that let's move the drill only in XY direction. Let's have a rotation only in Z direction. So compliance can be given. So in industry, this is the most preferred robot, which is SCARA robot. Selective compliance, right? Okay, now let us see what are the advantages of robots and what are the disadvantages of robots. Now, what are the advantages? We are having greater flexibility. We can reprogram the robot is the first advantage. Second is, as compared to humans, robots will have quick response time. The response will be less than a nanosecond, right? It will have improved product quality. Surface finish will be obviously higher. Accuracy, precision, everything will be much higher, right? So product quality will be higher. And not only product quality, we can maximize the quantity also, because a robot can work in multiple shifts. If we are using a robot, there are less chances of accidents, right? Because it will not make a mistake like human. Then the next advantage is that the hazardous exposure for human workers. There will be some exposures which will be hazardous where human cannot go, or even if human goes, they will have some issues regarding health. So over there we can use robots. And there will be less chances of work stoppages. In case of workers, there may be some chances that work will get stopped due to some of the issues. So that kind of things are not in case of robots. What are the disadvantages? First thing is unemployability. You are going to replace a labor, that too of 3 shifts, means 3 labors. So there will be greater unemployment. Next is, there is significant retraining cost. So if a new worker you are taking, you have to train him about programming. You have to train him about sensors, right? You have to teach him everything in the robot technology to that robot operator. So there will be a training cost to the new workers, right? Okay. There may be some hidden cost which may be associated with the technology. Now, what are the applications of robots? Where robots are used? Now you can see the photograph. A vehicle is there which is getting assembled. Simply chassis is there. Then there will be steering. Then there will be doors and glasses, and everything will get assembled, right? So material handling robots are there. Assembly robots are there. For welding, we can use robots, right? For inspection, we are having CMM, that is coordinate measuring machine, where we are using robots. We can precisely measure the dimensions of a component, right? QC department is there in industry, quality control. So over there we can use robots. The productivity will get improved, and also in laboratory applications we can use robot. What are the different types of robots? Mobile robots. Mobile robots means the robots in which the leg is not fixed. The legs, instead of leg there are wheels, so it can move from one point to another, right? Educational robots are the robots which are used for educational purpose. Domestic robots are the robots which are used for household applications, right? What are the current uses of robots? For welding, we are using robots. For painting, for surface finishing, to achieve higher surface finish, we are using robots. In aerospace and automotive industries, we are using robots. For inspection of parts using coordinate measuring machine, that is CMM, we are using robots, right? In microelectronic productions also, we are using robots. Now factory uses, as I mentioned earlier, packaging, welding, painting. In electronics, for placing the chips on circuit boards, we are using robots. Then automated guided vehicles, which will guide itself automatically, right? So over there also we are using robots. And the important robot uses are for bomb disassembling. We can defuse a bomb, we can disassemble a bomb using robot. We can explore volcanoes, we can explore underwater science, we can explore other planets using robot. For cleaning, maybe at home or maybe at any other place, commercial place, we can have robots. For fruit harvesting, that is in agriculture also, we can use robots. Now, for exploration, as I mentioned earlier, you can see the photograph. The photograph is of exploration of Mars, right? So for space missions, we can use robots. We can use robots in the Antarctic. Then we can use robots for exploring volcanoes where the temperature is extremely high. For underwater exploration also, we can use robots. If you talk about medical science, yesterday on television, on Star Maza, there was a discussion about robotic knee surgery. So knee replacement surgery is now done using robots. Eye surgeries, eye is so delicate part and you have to trace a very specific curve. So some of the eye surgeries, if you Google, you will come to know that eye surgeries are also performed with the help of robots, right? If you talk about industry, in factories, for handling purpose, for assembly purpose, for painting purpose, for surveillance, right? If you have seen the movie Uri, for surveillance, that aerial drone is used. So for surveillance also we can use robots. For security, as I mentioned, bomb disposal, right? And for domestic purposes like grass cutting or maybe cleaning, we can use robots. Now this will be future of robots. That is a very interesting area, but due to lack of time, I will not discuss this in today's session, but it is a very interesting area, which is humanoid robots. These are the two existing humanoid robots, which is Acroid, and the second one is Robonaut 2. And the middle photograph is for the robot, which is used in Mars exploration rover. Now, I will just take 5 to 10 minutes and I will tell you about what are the robots which are available in our laboratory. We are having embedded systems and robotics laboratory, right? And we are having a tie-up with eYantra, which is a platform of IIT Bombay, right? So in our lab, we are having two robots. Let us discuss the first one, Firebird V robot. We are having 7 Firebird V robots in our lab, where also we conduct workshops, right? So you can do simple tasks like line following, right? Obstacle detection, distance traveling. So this you can do. These programs you can do. We conduct 1 week workshop. Professor Sri Krishna Kollari is there. Dr. Ajvir Shastri is there, who are associated with this embedded systems and robotics lab. So we can have a workshop about this for 1 week, where you will be taught about programming and how to achieve a certain task. So let us discuss the first robot, which is Firebird V robot, right? Already we have seen that a robot will have control, sensors, actuators, intelligence, power, communication, and indicating devices. The microcontroller which is used in Firebird V robot is Atmega 2560, right? Okay. Now, we have already discussed what is the use of sensors, actuators, control. Sensors are used for sensing. Actuators are used to give motion to robots and its parts or linkages or joints, right? Control is used as a controller, that is processor, which is the brain of the robot, right? Intelligence, it is a user written command which is given to robot to perform desired set of action, and power is required, right? Power is like food for robot. Like for humans we are having food, so for robots we have to give power. And how the communication is done with the robot, it can be done from another robot, or it can be done with the help of a personal computer, which is nothing but PC. This is the photograph of Firebird V at Mega 2560 platform, which is available in our campus or in our laboratory, robotics laboratory. So as I mentioned earlier, the microcontroller is at Mega 2560. These are the sensors. Sharp IR range sensor. IR means infrared, right? Then second is IR proximity sensor. The range of sharp IR sensor is 10 centimeters to 150 centimeters, right? Now this sharp IR sensor is a camera which you can see, which is nothing but picture first, and second picture is of IR proximity sensor. There we are having a transmitter and a receiver. The transmitter is IR ray, that is infrared ray, and receiver is photo transistor. Now the sensor is white line sensor. Where we can design that line following robot, right? Okay. So transmitter is red LED, that is light emitting diode, and receiver is photo transistor. In the second photo, you can see that red LED transmitter and photodiode. Third is position encoder, right? A tooth wheel is there. The picture is not that clear, but if you can see here, a tooth wheel is there, right? So a position encoder is there. It will count that how many rotations that tooth wheel has performed, and based on that, it will calculate the distance. So even if you give, it can be other way around also. We will give a distance to a robot, it will travel that much distance and then it will stop, right? So what I mean to say, that position encoder is there. So infrared receiver, this is the photograph of infrared receiver. This is 60 RPM DC geared motor. And as I mentioned earlier, we can do programming in embedded C. These are the details of battery and adapter. The battery is 9.6 volt and 2100 milliampere hour, and this auxiliary power, that is adapter, is 9 volt 1 ampere. Now the communication between robot and system, right? To program the robot, we have to connect robot to a system through wired connection. But the connection between two robots can be on the basis of ZB, right? Like Bluetooth technology. ZB technology is there, and that IEEE 802.15.4 protocol is there. Okay, so these are some of the indicating devices. We are having 16:2 alphanumeric LCD. We are having a buzzer. Then also bar LED is there. And similar to previous robot, similar to Firebird V robot, there is second robot which is Spark V robot. We are having 5 Spark V robots and 7 Firebird V. So totally we are having 12 robots in our lab, which we can program and which we can check, right? We can test our programs. Spark V is comparatively having less cost as compared to Firebird V robot. So all parts are similar. Only the microcontroller is at Mega 16. So these are the details of the robots. These are the photographs of the robot. As I mentioned, the microcontroller is at Mega 16, right? This is about sensors, right? You can see 1, 2, 3 are the sensors. Then white line sensor is there. You can see RCL, right sensor, central sensor, left sensor, right? I will not go into details of this. Now this is actuator and intelligence. As I mentioned earlier, the programming can be done in embedded C. So this is battery powered like the Firebird V, and the communication is also similar. And these are the indicating devices. Now future robots, this is the last slide of my presentation. The future robots are nothing but intelligent robots. What are intelligent robots? That they will take their decision according to situation. I repeat, intelligent robots will take their decision according to situation. I will share some of the videos of intelligent robots on your WhatsApp groups, where you can see that table tennis playing robots are there or football playing robots are there. So depending upon the situation, depending upon the service of the player, they will decide what should be the location of racket, what should be angle of the racket, and what should be the force given to the racket, right? and they are in existence. So future robots, rather than future, I will say these are now existing. These are no more future. But in future, you will see this kind of robots everywhere, which are nothing but intelligent robots, right? Maybe a football playing robot or a table tennis playing robot. So this is from my end, right? Okay. I would like to thank you for your patient listening. We have discussed what is robot, right? We have taken a tour. What is robot? What are the components of a robot? What are the types of a robot, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Tejas sir.
Thank you, sir, for this nice and informative talk. Now, audience, we are having a break of 1 hour and we will meet at 2 p.m. Okay, thank you.
तिकडे